listen to your heart recap. We are at week 5. There's lots of drama to go over, some romance, and some amazing performances. But before we get into it, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so we can keep you updated on all things happening with all the shows in the Bachelor franchise. Wow, Fiona, I don't know where to even begin.
There is so much to unpack from this week. It has been so wonderful to watch all of these couples find love, listen to their hearts. But before we talk about all of these people and their romance and their dramas, let's talk about something else anybody out there who's bored at home should go listen to. Our shared channel, Miss Jocelyn and Lily over there, have finally launched their Overshare podcast. It is live. It is available right now. You can find it on anchor.fm/overshare. It's also on Spotify or right here on the YouTube, so you can go over to Share Channel and watch the video version of it. So after you're done listening to us talk about these people listening to their hearts, go watch that.
Listen, you guys, you know you have the time right now. But getting back to the episode, so you guys, all of our couples went on the road. They headed to Vegas for this episode. First of all, just in case you guys need a refresher, we have Natascha and Ryan, who were doing great in the start of the episode. We got Jamie and Trevor, super cute, super sweet. Rudi and Matt, who are my favorite, and Chris and Brie. So on the road trip, they each get their own like super nice tour bus. Like I would not mind traveling in those tour buses. They're fancy.
Totally.
Right?
I was
not only
surprised
that they were so fancy.
Yes.
Yeah, they're like, is that normal? I'm not a touring, this may surprise you guys. I'm not a touring musician. I've never been in a tour bus, but is that like standard, or are those super fancy Bachelor franchise budget tour buses? These are my questions.
My gut tells me that the Lady Gagas of the world may even have a fancier bus. So it was just cool to see inside.
Oh my God, now I'm going to like spend way too much time Googling fancy tour buses from celebrities. Now I'm curious. Now, okay, let's not even go there. If you guys watching have any knowledge of tour buses and like major pop stars and what their tour buses look like, let us know because I have questions. But staying on the fancy train. So basically, everyone's supposed to end up in Vegas and stay at this super nice hotel, the Nomad Las Vegas. Like that was gorgeous, huge, insane, very fancy. But Rudi and Chris need some time together. So they spend their night together separately from everyone else at Hotel California, which was, as we learned at the end, a haunted hotel. And they were in the haunted room, and it was not fancy or big or anything of the sort. But they had a sweet night together. Would you, in this situation, have stayed at the Nomad with everyone else, or would you have preferred a Hotel California experience?
To be honest with you, I think that I don't know that I would have gone out of my way to stay at that little haunted hotel, but I think I would have, even if they just crashed in the tour bus, like on the side of the road for one night, I think if I were in Rudi's position, I would have wanted that time, that space. I think that the Bachelor shows are so interesting because there are people who can find love and have a really genuine connection, but they just aren't going to move as fast as other people. And that's clearly Chris. And I just think that they needed that time. They're so talented. I think, to be honest with you, I think the producers said, hey, guys, what if you had this special little night? Because clearly the audience loves them. I mean, a lot of people are rooting for them, and their relationship was just in the same place as everybody else. So I would have taken it. The haunted thing I would have hated, but I would have taken the extra time.
I feel you on that. Yeah, obviously, like Matt is definitely a little bit behind Rudi and all of the other couples, which surprised me because their chemistry, and we'll get to this week's performance, but when they've performed, it's just so transparent. Like they have such amazing chemistry, singing together, performing together. Like I say every week, I so badly want them to turn out to be a real musical duo. Like even if they don't win this thing, I need that because I think that they sound so amazing together. This cannot be the end of Rudi and Matt's musical journey, no matter what.
Exactly. I agree. Totally agree. Let's move over to a couple who I really believe is going to make it no matter what happens next. Brie and Chris. The two of them from day one have just been almost too cute. Like you just look at them and you're like, oh, sweet. And what's so funny to me is literally since the first episode, they have been in it to win it with each other. Like they are just so focused on being there for one another, making their relationship the best it can be. It almost feels like they're not even in the same competition as everybody else. They just have been solid. And I almost think that because the drama really makes for the best TV, Brie and Chris have kind of got, I mean, maybe this is just my opinion, but sort of the lamest dates. It was really, really sweet. They sent them to a wedding chapel. They got to sing as a real life couple got married, and being the sweet, really, really, what's the word I'm looking for? Like emotionally in tune people that they are. They ate it up and they loved it. They had a great time and a great date. But other people had private ice skating rinks and like got to drive construction equipment. So in comparison, it really just feels like, honestly, the producers didn't think they needed a big show, a big ticket item to get that emotion from them. And I almost feel like for some reason, Bachelor Nation is setting up people who are really, really in love to I'm rooting for Rudi and Matt more because there's more intrigue there. Although Brie and Chris, I mean, feels like they should have it in the bag, right? I don't know. What do you think?
No, I totally, totally agree with you. I think that at this point, I'm sure producers are just kind of over using their budget on them for anything because they're like, okay, these people are like probably actually going to get married. So all we can really tease in the promos is like, ooh, do they on the show? Because there's no drama with them. Like at least with not to say at least, like I'm happy they're happy, but at least with Jamie and Trevor, who we will get into, there's like the, ooh, is Trevor a playboy? Well, is he falling for her? Are they the real deal? Or of course, Natascha and Ryan. They developed a little later on, like what's going on there? Or Matt and Rudi, who have been kind of the rockiest couple. There's always like questions. So I think for them, they invest more. Speaking of the other couples, there was a bit of a girl chat going on because Jamie and Rudi chatted about their relationships, and Jamie gave Rudi some advice to talk about her feelings with Matt, which we will get to. But Jamie was also opening up about how she's scared to tell Trevor how she feels. But you guys, it goes well. And it doesn't just go well, it goes pretty amazing because Jamie and Trevor had that like ice skating rink all to themselves. They had a super romantic date. And Trevor like opened up big time about like how the word love is a really big deal to him and he only says it when he really means it. And they end up telling each other that they're falling for each other. So do you think that Jamie and Trevor are the real deal, or do you think that perhaps this is for the show on Trevor's end? I don't think on Jamie's end. Like what are your thoughts with that? Would you put them on the same level as Brie and Chris?
No. I wouldn't put them on the same level as Brie and Chris because I think that they are two very, very different people than Brie and Chris. I think Brie and Chris have a maturity. There seems to be like a different level of just confidence in themselves as people. Brie trusts her gut with Chris. Chris trusts his gut with Brie. They really seem to be not only sure of each other, but sure of themselves. I think that Jamie, and this is not a slight against her, but she has a lot more insecurities to overcome than it feels as though we've watched Brie she hasn't really had anything to overcome in the same way as Jamie this season. And I think that Trevor and Jamie are going about everything from a much more fairy tale perspective, right? It feels like there's a lot more like dramatics. I don't want it to come off as though I'm like saying it's not cool because everyone has their own path, but the way they talk about each other is so much more like do or die. It's floating up in the air. It's so over the top, and that's okay. I just think it leads to a different pacing because they're more rooted in the big picture and if he's the one and if they're in love, instead of like being right here with each other and really figuring out like what their connection is, if that makes sense. But again, no right or wrong path. They got there. They had this really special moment in the ice skating rink, and I hope it works out for them. I also, not to jump ahead to the performances, but when we were talking about Jamie's insecurities, she really put herself out there, which as we watched in her little interview moments, she was so nervous to tell him, and all of the feelings and all of the stress and anxiety. And then when it worked out, she was a completely different woman by the time we got to the performances. Yeah. Like she found herself because she had a lot less self-doubt going on to that stage. So I'm happy for both couples. I do think that real world, real life, I feel like Brie and Chris are more rooted. Jamie and Trevor seem to be finding their path, and I hope they end up really happy at the end of this.
Totally agree. We do want to take a second to give the chat a shout out. Thank you guys so much for tuning in live with us. We want to answer some of your questions, read some of your comments. J Jobs, thank you for the reminder. You guys, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, not just for us, but for Jamie and Trevor, because they are falling in love with each other. And who doesn't love love? Also, Winter Renee, another Renee, we love it, commented saying that Brie and Chris are okay, but a little cringy to watch. I think that's probably like the mushy gushy stuff. Trevor and Jamie, it's like watching 12-year-olds that are crushing. Then there is Rudi and Matt. They are the real deal. Love them. Completely agree with Trevor and Jamie comment. I think that they are like 12-year-olds. Like the way that they get like super excited, like you were talking about like every little step and how they're shocked about it, is very youthful. I love Rudi and Matt, but we should get into their date because I don't know how I feel after that.
Okay, I'm really excited to hear your take on them. So here's the thing. Their date, I feel like we can talk about very quickly. They see Shaggy. They have a fabulous time. Matt has a great little moment on stage. So awesome. It's that conversation after the fact that I think we really need to unpack, because as you were saying, we see a little girl chat going on. Jamie obviously encouraged Rudi to put herself out there as well, which girl to girl, great advice. Love to see that friendship. Was so happy for both of them. Rudi moves faster than Matt. I think she is much more of a in the moment kind of person, and Matt takes his time and he moves slow. And we saw last week, there are some conversations that they sort of have tiptoed around, but at least as viewers, we haven't seen them unpack fully and like deeply how they got here. I think that the little, I don't want to say betrayal because that feels very dramatic, but that moment, that betrayal, for lack of a better word, where, you know, she brought it up this episode, she was crying, he had no idea what was going on. They didn't fully patch that, you know? So I think that Rudi putting it all out there that she was really falling for him was her way of being like, this happened between us. Now I'm all the way over here. Are you with me, or are we still in the middle? Are you not there yet? And unfortunately, I thought his answer was respectful. I thought he did the best he could in the moment. I appreciated the fact that he wasn't a liar, that he didn't say something that he didn't mean, but he's not there. Do you think he can get there? Do you hope he gets there?
It's tough to say, because with them, I feel like they're shoving a lot of stuff under the rug. I feel like from the first fight that they had that they like overcame, Rudi kind of just apologized for the way she reacted, but we didn't really get Matt to take any accountability for the fact. And maybe I missed this part. Maybe I just, you know, misinterpreted it, whatever. But I don't think Matt really took accountability for the fact that he did tell her he was going to go on a date with her and then went on a date with someone else. I don't think that that was right that he did that. I don't think that Rudi's reaction was correct either, but I think that that wasn't really resolved. I think Rudi just kind of took one for the team. Like in that sense, she was just like, I'm really sorry for the way I reacted. I'm extreme. Like it seemed like it came from her insecurities of like who she is as a person. I'm seeing this happen again and again in the relationship with like Rudi, I think, is too worried or maybe feels insecure in the relationship. And then Matt pulls back because he's not there yet. And then Rudi ends up just like either talking herself out of how she's feeling, or just nothing even happens. She always just seems to like feel one way and then talks herself out of it. So because of that, I don't know what's going to happen with their relationship because they're not really working through anything. So eventually that's all going to come out. However, they're my favorite couple because I think they're so musically gifted together. Like, I want them to make albums. I want music videos. I want original songs. I have so many hopes and dreams for them that I think a lot of the time when I watch them, I want them to be the couple that works out if any of them do. And I don't know.
So here, I totally agree with you. Here's the thing that I really, really appreciated this episode, because we see a lot of sit down interviews from the girls. I think girls are just like a little more expressive in their storytelling, and we just don't see as many of like the singular guy moments where we as the audience get to like look into their heads. And I really appreciated a couple of moments from Matt where he, at least as a viewer, the way I interpreted it, really genuinely seemed to mean what he was saying. He talked about how much he liked her, how amazing he thought she was, how he really, really is enjoying his time with her. He just doesn't want to say he's falling in love with her because he's not sure about that. And I always, you have to like put on two hats when you watch The Bachelor. The real world hat, there is nothing wrong with him not being there yet. They have been on a whirlwind. Totally. They have been thrown into all of these crazy situations. They've barely known each other for 15 minutes, right? So in a real world perspective, I have a lot of respect for him for having a crush on this girl, treating her well. They have some stuff they have to overcome. That's okay. Relationships, I don't think this complication at the beginning of their relationship was so dramatic that they can't move past from it, right? Like, there's a lot of reasons that they totally could work. They just need more time. And I think that it's such a complicated environment because there is no more time. The show moves at the pace the show moves. So I think a lot of people are really rooting for them. And I think that their connection is one of, if not the strongest, because in a weird backwards way, they're moving at a more normal pace. So I still root for them, and I still have a lot of hope.
I agree with that, actually. I see that perspective. I hope it is. Someone said in the chat that they're a slow burn. I really hope that they are, because I do love them together. I just think in order for them to be a good couple and succeed after this, they need to talk through these things, and not just in a way where it's kind of like shoved under the rug and then like will be dealt with later, because there's still going to be an insecurity lingering, whether they deal with it now, in a week, in 6 months, or 2 years into their relationship. But nonetheless, they're very sweet. Also, shout out to Fiona and I, because in literally every show we ever do, I realized this just now, one of us will say a point and the other one will go, I totally agree, because we always agree with each other with everything. Listen, this is what happens when you spend too much time together, people. And we've been quarantined away from each other for like 2 months, but listen, God, it's so funny. Moving on to another date, though, you guys. Rachel, who's Rachel, Renee? Ryan and Natascha had their cute date that unfortunately my cable turned off for a portion of. So Fiona, what went down on this little cute construction date?
Listen, it was cute. When I say you didn't miss much, it's not in a slight against them. It was just cute. They got to go crush cars with the construction equipment. It was very over the top. They still managed to have some very sweet moments within crushing cars and doing big things with machines. So I appreciated that their connection really seemed to be strong. There was a really sweet moment where Ryan sort of like kind of just turned to her for a little confirmation as to where they were, because he admitted to, at the beginning of their relationship, sort of holding back, not exactly being his authentic self. And since that time, he feels like he's really opened up. He's really shown her who he is. And she totally validates him. And the word I keep coming back to is cute. It was really nice. It was sweet. And they just really seemed to be solid, which as we watched the episode evolve, even overcoming some sort of sad moment that we'll get to at the end of this recap, they walk away solid. So I think that they had a great date, and I don't know, I like them as a couple. Knowing what we know, obviously, at the end of the episode, what are your thoughts of them as a couple overall? Do you think they'll make it, Renee?
I really hope they do. I think based on my social media creeping, it seems like they're at least very friendly because they have posted a bunch about each other. I don't know if that was just something in the contract agreement for the show, but I'm guessing it's not because not all the other couples did that. I think they're really sweet together. I think that their chemistry musically is definitely there, though when we get into performances, I don't think they did their best this week at all. Um, but I like them together. And I like them together ever since I think it was last episode when she made the joke about gossiping with him. There's just something really cute between them. I hope that they make it afterwards, after they were sent home, which we'll get to. But let's dive into the performances because woo, we had quite a few great judges this night.
Yes, we did. So the judges this week was Pat Monahan from Train, which was such a cool get. And who else we had from Bachelor Nation? We had Ari and Lauren and Ashley Simpson and Evan Ross. What a cool combination of two talented people, and they're a couple. I was really a fan of the judges this week, and I really appreciated the lens that they could judge through. I thought this was a really solid group, and I really enjoyed their feedback. What did you think?
I agree. I thought they were really great judges. Honestly, the judges keep getting cooler and cooler every week. But the performances this week, you guys, okay, so obviously we had Brie and Chris going up first, performing I Can't Help Falling in Love with You. So cute. Expected. Honestly, this performance was very Brie and Chris. I think that they kill it every week, and I'm being honest, and you guys tell me if you agree or if I'm being harsh. For me, Renee, who can't sing at all, I'm never blown away, I don't think, by their performances. I more love them as a couple than I do as them being a duo together. Obviously the chemistry is there because they're so into each other, but they don't scream musical duo to me. I think that they're so talented on their own, but I don't think that they're as amazing together. I think they're great together, but whenever I watch them, it's just oh,
I think, so here's the thing. I think they're super talented. I totally agree with you. I think individually they really have strong things going as performers. Their performances kind of always go like this for me. The beginning is sort of slower. You can really, really see their connection though, and the talent is there, so you're not mad about it. Then it peaks. They have this really great moment. Brie sort of was the one who had it this week where they just you go, oh, wow. Oh, there's their talent. Holy smokes, they're so good. And then the other one comes in with some support and you're like, wow, this is great. And then it slows down a little bit and it ends, which is totally fine, successful. They prove what they're supposed to prove. You see their connection, you see the musical talent, great. There's sort of and not to sound like some sort of snobby American Idol judge, there's a lack of star, showstopper moments. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think that's what we feel with, again, not getting ahead of ourselves, but Rudi, when her peak moment comes, you have goosebumps. And there's just sort of this superstar element. And with Brie and Chris, I don't feel superstar chills. I feel more relationship chills. They're talented. Wow, this is so great overall. All of the pieces are there and they do a good job. So no, nothing against them. It's just different when you compare it.
I totally agree, Fiona. That's what it is. That's what's missing for me. It's that star power. It's not that they aren't talented. They're obviously talented, but when you're comparing couples, there's a difference. Which brings me to our next couple who performed, Jamie and Trevor, because Jamie was reborn when she sang Just a Kiss. Not only did she not have a breakdown before she performed, she was confident about her performance because Trevor validated her feelings, reciprocated her feelings. It was all very sweet. Honestly, this performance was really cute. I think that there's still that kind of codependency that we see, or just I don't know what you would call it. Just when she kept touching him, it got to a point where it felt weird, a little awkward. You know what I mean? When she kept grabbing his face. Is that just me? Am I the only one that thought that was awkward?
No, I totally agree. And I can't remember which one of the judges said it, that they were like, Jamie, you're so awkward, but I love it. I think Jamie is I don't know if she's new to performing. I can't remember. I feel like she mentioned at some point in the show that she's not an on-stage performer as much as like a behind-the-scenes musician, or hasn't been up until now. So I think she's finding her groove. I was so happy. I do think regardless of those like awkward moments, because I felt them too, I finally this week felt like she wasn't just like, okay, she's talented and there's some potential there as a performer, as a singer. This is the first time where I was like, oh, she could totally like do her own show at the House of Blues and people would show up for it. She really, really came into her own. Now, being devil's advocate and not to put poo-poo the train, like I'm not trying to be a downer. Does it bum you out at all?
Did you just use?
Poo-poo
the train?
I don't think that's what I meant to say. I don't think that's a phrase, but you get what I'm saying. Not to be a party
really
pooper.
Poo-pooed the train.
A party pooper is what I meant. Not to be a party
Someone's
pooper.
Been quarantined too long.
And too many mentions of the word poop. Anyways, I feel as though, and I'm curious on your take, and I'm so hesitant to say it because I really don't want to be a downer, but is it a little bit of a bummer that this surge of self-confidence in herself as a performer only came after she was validated from Trevor? Because it's totally okay to want validation from the person you're dating. It's also, in my eyes, totally okay to feel like on a high after being validated and after somebody really puts themselves out there to you. But it was such a stark difference. Like, I just worry, like, what if their relationship goes through a hiccup? I would hate to see her lose this confidence in herself because she's pulling all of it from their relationship. What are your thoughts?
I could not agree more with you. That's one thing that really, really poo-poos the train for me too, is that is that Jamie seems very codependent with Trevor. It feels like for her to be happy, their relationship has to be good. For her to be confident, the relationship has to be good. And I'm so happy to see this confident side of her, but she also needs to know that like she's incredibly talented. And she does not even need him up on that stage. She does for the show, the TV show we're watching, but like her music career can take off after this on her own because she has the talent to back it up, and she needs that self-confidence. It's like when they say like you need to love yourself before you love someone else. I truly believe that Jamie does not yet love herself enough to love someone else. And I loved her and Trevor together, but I feel like when it comes to different conflicts in the future, it could be an issue that I don't think that self-confidence in herself or self-love is there enough to overcome certain situations if they were to continue the relationship after the show. I hope it does. I hope I'm wrong. I'm obviously not like a therapist. I get it. But at the same time, we've just seen her for weeks now be so insecure and so worried about going on stage. And then it takes a boy saying he's also falling in love with her for her to be like, I am great. And that's what's concerning to me.
Totally. And again, I hope that this is just sort of like one of those like red flag moments. I hope that it just is sort of, we only see a small sampling of everything. We also don't know where they are in their lives right this very moment. So I hope that she is confident in herself. I hope that she watched this performance back and was like, I can do that all the time. Like that is me, that's in me, it's there. And you know, maybe the next one won't have as many little awkward extra moments.
I hope so. Before we get into the other two performances, I want to read some of your guys' comments because you are too funny. First of all, Heidi Truelove, welcome back. Great to have you. She said, Renee, you love love. I do. She said, I feel ya on Chris and Brie. We know they are in love, so let's move into some drama. And then she said, Chris Harrison has not said this is the most dramatic season. And you're right. He has it because it's not that dramatic. Some of you talking about Jamie are saying, well, Heidi said like Jamie is not an actress. Newall says that Jamie is not ready for the stage. I kind of agree with you on that. I think she just needs to work on her self-confidence because she'll kill it if she does. And Jay Job says, I still think Jamie was too young for this season in comparison to the other contestants, which I also agree with you on because she's 21. That's so young to like have this possibly be your forever person. She's so young. She's new to performing. She's only kind of dated jerks because she said every single person she's been with has cheated on her. I do agree. Maybe she just wasn't ready for this.
She's doing well, all things considered. Like I'm happy that she's on this journey, and I hope that she grows from it. Everybody that goes on any sort of bachelor program talks about all the growth and all the learning they did. So maybe this will really like catapult her into her next phase of more self-confidence and
I hope so.
More confidence as a performer. Let's talk about Natascha and Ryan, because I think Natascha is perhaps the most confident girl on the show.
She definitely is. I was so bummed. So you guys, as you know, Natascha and Ryan performed perfect, but they did like a jazzy twist to the song that I hated. And I love them performing together. You guys know, I forget who said, someone told me, was it Heidi? One of you guys told me that you thought Natascha and Ryan were going home that night. And I literally was like, there's no way. Like, they're so good. But it just takes one mess up because everyone on the show is so talented. And this performance was so awkward for me because I love Ed Sheeran's original version of Perfect is perfect. And you know what else is perfect? The version with Beyonce. But they made it a totally different song with the jazz remix that I was not here for at all.
Yeah,
what about you? Did you like it?
No, here's the thing. I see where they were trying to go with it. I do. And had Natascha not messed up, I don't know where it could have gone. There was an awkward moment with the mic stand. There was the complication with him having the mic and the guitar and that. Like, there were so many little things that, like, when you're on stage and you're performing, if something goes wrong, it totally ruins the rest of the performance. If you're like having a minor wardrobe malfunction, you can't perform your best because you're worried about your sleeve coming down. Like, just the littlest thing can get in your head, and then you're just getting through it. You're not performing, you're just getting through it. And I feel like that's what happened with them. They just fell off at one point. We didn't know at first what had gone wrong. Obviously, she revealed she sang the wrong part. And from that moment on, they
would have fixed it.
But they were just getting through it. I mean, I don't know. I want to believe in them. I hope that it could have been better. But I also feel as though you're right. Like, don't mess with the song. The song is so good. Just do the song. Maybe it would have been great. Maybe it was all the other things, but I don't know. And I loved them. I wanted it to be so good.
Me too. That's the thing. You guys know, I love them. I think that she's so talented. She's a powerhouse. I think Ryan has such a unique, beautiful voice. I think they sound great together. But I hate what they did with the song. Like, not even, I hated it. Because I love that song, and it ruined it for me, because the judges were right when they said, like, it's supposed to be this loving, sweet song that they, like, you know, jazzed it up and made it something else that I wasn't here for. Honestly, Ryan could have sang the right part. They could have sang lovey-dovey to each other on stage and ended with a really romantic kiss, and still I would have hated it because I didn't like what they did with the song.
There's something to be said about like, if the song you're performing is beloved, then you're going to lose the audience the minute you change it. And I will tell you, I am the biggest Fleetwood Mac fan on the planet. I finally saw them in concert, and I believe it was Landslide. And that is, like, if you're a Fleetwood Mac song, the pinnacle of Fleetwood Mac. And Stevie Nicks started singing different words. And I was like, okay, you're Stevie Nicks, so I'm going to go with you on this. But what are you doing? Those aren't the words. Like, it's just, as an audience member, when you're expecting one thing from a performer, whether it's their own song or a song from someone else, they really have to be Stevie Nicks to pull it off. Otherwise, you're just kind of left going, oh, that's not the song, you know? So they kind of, it was a really bold choice.
Yes. No, I agree with you. But someone does disagree with us. So Terrence said, I disagree, ladies. I don't think there's anything wrong with making a song your own. Here's the thing. I agree with you on that. I think that you can make a song your own.
Totally.
But it has to be done in a way that still keeps the spirit of the song. Or I just think with the song Perfect, there's not really a way to make it your own if you change it to like a lighthearted kind of, it changed it in a way that didn't work.
The thing is, you can't change anything. You have to kill it, though.
You have to kill it. And there are some people that could absolutely change a song, even a classic, and kill it. And maybe some people will love it and some people won't. Like, for instance, we all know the song Build Me Up Buttercup. Well, there's a version by B.O.B. and he sings, it's called Don't Break My Heart, and he remixes it, and he uses just like the to build me up or whatever, and then the rest of it's so different. Most of my friends hate that song. I love it. I'm here for it. I'm like all about it. So I get that everyone's going to have their different take. Personally, hated the remix of their song Perfect. Wasn't here for it. But you know what I was here for, you guys? I was so here for Shallow by Rudi and Matt. When Rudi and Matt performed Shallow from A Star Is Born, Fiona said it best. She told me before we even went live, she's like, it gave me goosebumps. It gave me goosebumps too. They're so magical. Like them together is magic. And I think they have something that none of the other contestants they do. And I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, aside from the fact that they're so incredibly talented. But I think it's just something about them together works. And whatever they perform, even if it's a song that I'm not that into, I'm completely drawn in when they perform.
I think that with them, first of all, everybody on this show is talented. I think that she is the most talented female singer, and I think that he is the most talented male singer. Totally just opinion, but right there, I think that their talent level is in another league. And I think that there is something really magical. There is a reason every romantic comedy is a will they, won't they, right? Like there is something that people are so drawn into about a couple trying to figure it out. And I think that even in real life relationships, that phase, I mean, I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend for 2 years now, and I look back very fondly on the time when we were like, oh, is it going to work? Is it going to work? Are we there yet? Are you where I am? Like there's something really charming about that. And while theirs is a little bit messy, when you're put in an environment where you both can really succeed and you're in it together and you're fighting for it, they're going to shine because their connection is there. It might be behind some of the others. They might have some stuff to work out, but it's definitely there. And the talent is definitely there. So these moments on stage are perfectly engineered for them to kill it because they can. They have all of the pieces. And it's like this moment on stage where they're singing together. Chris Harrison, man, he knew it would work. He put us in this show environment where they succeed. Music and love, whatever the stupid catchphrase of the show is, they are the example of it.
No, I definitely agree with you on that. They're just so talented. I do want to we got to have a moment of silence for Natascha and Ryan, who were unfortunately sent home tonight. But to be honest, I don't think any of us were surprised, just based on how their performance went, what the judges said about their performance versus anyone else. Like it wasn't, we knew as soon as the others performed that they didn't do that great. Everyone else kind of killed it. The judges loved everyone else's performance except theirs. Honestly, though, I'm not concerned about either of them. I think they both have like a future in music and a future together. What I do want to talk about, though, is the promo that we got for next week, because it looks like full of drama.
It does. It really does. And it looks like drama where we don't want to see it. I mean, you and I have said this entire recap, Matt and Rudi have some stuff to figure out. It's right there in the promo. Clearly stuff is coming to light. They have some really, really happy moments and then pivots, and they both seem upset. The shocker for me was more Brie and Chris. It almost looks like we're getting a tease that there might be trouble in paradise for them. Again, these promos are engineered to confuse us and stress us out and bring us back for another week. So I don't know. I just hope that the drama that we're seeing between one of our most solid couples and one of the couples we're really pulling for is put to bed by the time we get these final performances. Who do you think is going to win, though? I couldn't predict for the life of me.
I will tell you who I want to win. I want Rudi and Matt to win so badly, because they are the ones that are going to be, in my opinion, like on top charts, because I think that they just have something that is so rare. And I hope it's them. I hope / want it to be them. But who knows? What do you think? Who do you think is going to win? Or who do you want to win?
Here's the thing. It's sort of what I was saying earlier. Who should win? Probably Brie and Chris. They found a connection. They fought for it. They went all the way. They got vulnerable. Like, as far as what the show asked of any contestants, they've basically answered, delivered, and succeeded at it every single week. So that like logical side of me feels like, okay, Brie and Chris, right? Like they've been the winners from day one. As much as I'm rooting for them in general, I'm also rooting for Matt and Rudi because I'm the most intrigued by them, and I'm kind of like you said, I think they have the most amazing musical connection. So it's sort of a hard call. I'd be happy for either of them, though.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. Let's see what your guys' predictions are, and then we will be back next week. Let's see. We have oh, actually, Jay Jobs just asked a question. Did Natascha mess up on purpose? I don't think so, but I don't know. I don't. That would be very interesting if she did. Winter Renee says that she thinks Jamie and Trevor are going to win, but again, she's here for Rudi and Matt. Right Brain Liz says, I predict Brie and Chris will win, but we'll be watching the finale for Matt and Rudi. See, everyone's on the same page about Matt and Rudi. Benny says Rudi and right. Rudi and Matt are the best. They won't win though. We'll see. Newall says Brie and Chris. Let's see. Matt probably said she wants me to fall madly in love with her, and producers probably cut the she wants me to. Oh my God. Is this about the promo? I wonder if you're right. Terrence says that she or he, I'm not sure, wants Maddie and Matt and Root. Oh my God. What am I saying? They want Maddie. Is it just dinner time? Is that why I cannot say Matt and Rudi? They want Matt and Rudi to win, but they think that Jamie and Trevor will win. That's interesting because honestly, I don't even think I would keep them in my top choice there. If it was between Rudi and Matt, I would say it's them and honestly, probably Brie and Chris because of just how steady they've been. But you guys, we love your predictions. We're going to have to wait and see. Honestly, hopefully next week I will be able to say Matt and Rudi 5 times fast without completely messing up their easy names to say. I think it just means it's time to wrap it up. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so we can continue to update you on everything going on in Bachelor Nation, including recapping the show Listen to Your Heart. If you'd like to keep up with me, you can follow me at Renee Ariel on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. And where can they follow you, Fiona?
All of those same places at Fiona Zaring.
All right, you guys, we'll see you back here next time.
Bye.